From the fact that you are present here today, I assume all of you are preparing for bank exams. Reading comprehension tips and tricks that we discussed today will be useful for various other exams also that you may be appearing for. Okay. Uh, Before we start the session, I do have an agenda in mind for the session. Okay. The agenda is to discuss a few common concerns in reading comprehension, uh, then go on to discuss a few tips for addressing these concerns, and then go on to look at some questions. Okay, actual bank type questions. That is the agenda that I have in mind. But before I start, I would like to know if you have any specific concerns or questions regarding reading comprehension. Can you please put them in the chat box or unmute and let me know? Of course, you can ask me questions throughout the session and towards the end. However, if you have any specific questions or concerns regarding reading comprehension, if you tell me right away, I can address them right now or at some point in the session. I don't want to miss out on anything. So can you please let me know if you have any specific concerns or queries? Please put them in the chat box or just unmute and tell me. Okay, I'll wait for your responses for a couple of minutes. Please do not hesitate. No question is silly or trivial. Okay, every question is relevant and each one has their own issues or concerns. Please feel free to let me know so that I can address them also in the session. Yeah, you can ask me questions later too, but it's nice to have your concerns in mind before I start. Can you please let me know? Any issues, problems, doubts, concerns? Yeah, you can put them in the chat box or just unmute and tell me. It will really help if you do share your concerns with me. Okay. Nobody has shared anything so far. Uh, yeah. Yes, Jagrati.
No,
Say.
ma'am.
Yeah.
There
Hi.
is a very minor query about like how to approach the reading comprehension. Like there are questions, then there are passages. So should I first see the questions and then go through the passage to find out the answers for the same, or should I read the whole para and then, because there are certain questions which asks about what are the synopsis of the passage, so for that anyways we have to read the whole passage.
Yeah.
But since like I find this beneficial for me, but sometimes it doesn't work at all, of reading the question, go through the question first and then go through the passage and then find out which are the relevant passage for the questions you have read already, if you have, like if you can recall the questions already.
Oh.
That's the
Okay.
only simple thing.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
not a simple question at all. That is a very heavy and complicated question, and I am going to address it very seriously. Okay, that is one of the first things I'm going to address today. Thank you for the wonderful
Thank you
question.
so much.
Okay, that is one of the key points I'm going to focus on today. Okay, oh, I'm happy to see all the messages in my chat box. Let me read each one of them. Um, how to read the reading comprehension faster. Absolutely. Definitely, we will take that up also. Okay. I am looking at the questions and seeing if there is something that I had not planned to take up. If there is something new, I will address, I'll try and address those also in the session. How to read faster is something also which I'm going to focus on. Now, next, sometimes there are some dry reading topics on reading comprehension, how to approach them. Okay, this is also something I had in mind. So I will, if though I'm saying I have it in mind, if I forget to address these questions, please do remind me. I'm writing it down here also so that I don't forget. Pujita, are you asking me a question? I see. Pujita, you have raised your hand. Do you want to ask me a question? If you have a question, please ask me. Okay, fine. Your hand was raised. So, yeah. Kashyap says it will be more time taking sometimes, and we may skip these questions due to difficulty in exam. How to overcome them? Absolutely, that is the whole problem with us and reading comprehension. I won't say it's a problem with reading comprehension, it is a problem with us, right? How to, I mean, it is very scary sometimes. It looks very difficult to understand, it looks very time consuming, and we tend to skip that whole section. That is what I don't want you to do, and that is the reason we have decided to keep this session in the first place. Okay, so we'll definitely take it up. Some reading comprehension is very difficult to understand. Okay, fine, definitely I will take that up also. Close test, how to approach? Okay, close test is not something that I had planned to include in today's session, because we don't normally include it in reading comprehension, but since you have mentioned it, since you have asked me, I will include that also. Okay, firstly, how to approach it? Okay, sure. Firstly, how to approach it is what we are going to start with first. Okay, don't worry. I am definitely going to talk about that. Any more questions? Do not hesitate. I'm just quickly noting this down in a piece of paper also, so that even if I miss it in the chat box, I do not forget. So you can ask me more questions in the meanwhile. I am writing here speed, question first or passage first, then dry topics, difficult topics, then uh, time taking, that is time consuming, that is also part of how to read faster, then close test. Okay, how to summarize RC and memorize faster without note in paper, how to quickly solve questions like 2 RC 8 questions in 20-25 minutes. Very good question. Summarize, memorize. Okay. How to complete it in faster way, speed. Okay, difficult to read and understand. Okay, I do understand it is difficult to read sometimes, but I hope today we will take a few steps forward towards not making it very difficult, okay, towards simplifying it for you. That is my hope. If I don't get the reading comprehension in one go, I enter into panic mode. What to do? Not to enter into panic mode at all. That is what you should do. Okay. You will understand it if you take it little by little. Today, I will try and show you how to understand it. If the passage is definitely something you cannot understand at all, then but it is very unlikely. It is just panic, like you said. It is very, very unlikely if you do regular practice. Okay. I don't think there will be a passage that you just cannot understand at this level. At bank prelims level, it is very rarely that you will find a passage you cannot understand anything about. That is not going to happen. I swear it will not happen. I can assure you. If there is a difficult word, how to understand its meaning? Okay. Difficult words. Okay. Finished? Any more questions? You can bring it up anytime. Okay. Shall we start the session then? Thank you very much for your questions, by the way. Okay, this matters a lot because otherwise I will just go on my own track and I may not exactly cover the things that you have in mind. So it is very, very important. Others also, please feel free to ask me if you have any questions in mind. Now, let us start. You all know the importance of reading comprehension in bank exams. I do not need to tell you. 7 to 11 questions will definitely be there in most of the exams. It is not only in bank exams. Once you go on to your banking profession, the reason they have included reading comprehension in bank exams along with closed test and all these sections is that you will have to read a lot of paperwork, as you know, right? Once you get into the banking profession, you will need to comprehend a lot of information, and not just comprehend but process it, and also at higher levels take decisions based on it. So it is very important that you accurately understand the passage. If you misunderstand the passage in any way, it can have very serious implications on many people and on your career also, right? Banking is such a sensitive area, so it is very important that you understand information properly. That is the reason banks test you on this area. How to know the answer quickly? Yes, how to know the answer quickly is also part of this reading speed and comprehension. We are going to try and find all these things. Okay, try to find the answers to all these questions. Okay. uh, so yeah, now one of you just told me that reading comprehension sometimes can be a little scary, right? It can be it is difficult to read sometimes, and so you tend to skip it. Well, if you skip reading comprehension, just remember one thing, okay? This is the only section in the whole of verbal ability, and maybe in the whole exam also to some extent, where the answer is given to you. The answer is written there. You only need to pick the answer from the passage. Is there any question in quant, for example, or reasoning, where the answer is given to you? Is there any question type like that where the answer is actually written? Huh? This is the only question type where the answer is written, and you just need to find it. So, if you skip this very, very important section, you are actually letting go of a very scoring section, dear students. Okay, that is the problem with skipping reading comprehension altogether. Now, of course, if you are very confident in vocabulary, if you are very confident in grammar, if you have been taking mock tests and you know you've been performing extremely well in these sections, and if reading is the only area you're scared of, there are students like that. If you are one of them, then maybe you can see if the passage is easy, and if it is very difficult, then you have the other sections to fall on. However, skipping reading comprehension altogether is a risky game for most students. Okay, because most students struggle to achieve perfection in grammar and vocabulary as well, right? So in that scenario, it is very risky to skip an entire section where the answers are given to you. Okay, that is why we are having this session today, to boost your confidence. Now, quickly moving on and looking at how is reading comprehension in bank exams different, probably to some extent, from the reading comprehension exercises that you may have done in school and even in college. uh, One of you, the first question I got was, do we look at the questions and then try to find the answer, or do we read the whole passage? Now, nobody likes to read the whole passage, that all of us know. Right? Even if you are a good reader, like, some of us, we are people who are in love with reading. We love reading books, reading articles, reading newspapers. However, when it comes to reading comprehension, all of us have followed the same approach in school and college. What is that? Looking at the question and picking the answer from the passage, right? That is what all of us have done. Nobody likes to sit and read passages there, boring passages, dry passages, difficult passages, as you all said. Nobody likes to read this under time pressure. However, you need to understand one very important thing here. Okay? In your school level reading comprehension, I know all of you looked at the question and picked the answer based on the keywords, right? And we call it the keyword approach, like a very special or magic approach. We all say, hey, we follow the keyword approach. Now, suppose, let's say in school, you have a question. Alice is sitting in the garden wearing a red dress. The question is, what is the color of Alice's outfit? And the options are red, blue, yellow, orange. Right? This is how you learned to pick the keywords. You look at the question, what is the color of Alice's outfit? Color. Okay, go to the passage, color, 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 red. Finished. You don't need to know why Alice was sitting in the garden, why was she wearing a red dress, all these things you don't need to know at all. That is how we have trained ourselves. Right? If the same question were to come in a bank exam, first of all, you rarely get such straightforward passages in bank, right? You get passages on economics, on current politics, on international relations, foreign trade, etc. Very rarely in clerk exams, you may get a story based question. But that story based question also, a story based passage. But the questions on the story based passage also may not be very, very direct. Right. So, if the same Alice question were to appear in a bank exam, right? What is the color of Alice's outfit? It is written in the passage that Alice was wearing a red dress, and the options will be dark red, light red, bright red, faded red. Nowhere else in the passage will anything else be written about Alice's outfit or its color. Then how do you find the answer? Right? Then can you follow the keyword approach? Huh? Can you follow the keyword approach then? Definitely not. This is what will happen. If you think you can, yeah, exactly. Or if you're saying no, this is what will happen if you think you can look at the question and then pick the answer, guys. Of course, I'm exaggerating, okay? Dark red, light red, bright red, and all, I'm exaggerating a little. But if you have seen reading comprehension questions in bank, you know that the options are very, very, very similar. Very similar. Do you agree with me, guys? Do you agree? Or disagree? Disagree also you can say no. If you agree, you can say yes. Yeah? You agree that the options are very similar. Yes, exactly. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So that, yeah, thank you. So that is the reason. Yeah, yeah, I know. Thank you, all of you, for agreeing with me. That's the reason we say to the question that I just got, that we cannot really look at the questions and try to pick the answer from the respective paragraphs. You will see several channels on YouTube, okay? Several channels on YouTube will tell you, read the first para, first line of the first para, then look for question based on first para, go there and pick the answer. I'm telling you, kids, please don't listen to all these things, okay? These are not approaches that are going to work. It may work for them, or they may be saying it without the necessary experience. We don't have to worry about it. Such approaches will not work. It may work for 20% of the questions. You don't want to take such risk in reading comprehension when you're going to spend so much time on finding on reading copy. It's a time consuming section. All of us agree it's a time consuming section. If you are doing it, you have to do it properly. If you do it properly, you will already get marks to clear the cutoff. No? Usually if you do it properly, you that is enough. It will bring you very close to the cutoff, because one chunk you get in one go. You don't need to attempt all the questions in reading comprehension. Okay, that we will come to later. based on a passage, you don't need to attempt each and every question. At least the easy ones, if you are able to attempt so many marks in one go, you are going to get. Whereas in grammar, in vocabulary, each question is independent. So there is a higher risk there, because here, if you understand the entire passage carefully, then at least a few questions you will get at one shot based on that passage. Right? So reading comprehension is the very scoring section, but first point is you definitely need to read the passage. Two reasons. One, the questions are not very direct, they are inference based. Two, the options are extremely close and confusing. These are the two reasons why you need to read the passage quickly before attempting the questions. Okay, the student who asked me that question in the beginning, so sorry, I forgot your name, but I hope you have got the answer. Yeah, Jagrati.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I hope you got the answer to your question. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now the next question, then it's very easy for me to sit and tell you here that you need to read the entire passage. Many of you have asked, how do we read the entire passage fast? It is very, very difficult to read the entire passage fast. Okay, I will try and demonstrate this for you today. Okay, with I have taken uh, two moderate level passages, one a little simple, one a moderate level passage. I have taken two bank level passages today. I will try and demonstrate speed and accuracy. But yeah, what do we do for speed? Okay, everyone will tell you read a lot of books, read newspaper, read this, read that. Okay, all that comes for later, that we will talk about. Reading is very important, but reading alone is not going to help you improve your speed in reading comprehension. Please understand that. Okay, if you have always been a good reader, if you have always been in the habit of reading, then reading has already improved your reading speed. Regular reading habit has already improved your reading speed. But suddenly, if you say, Array, now today I'm going to start reading, it will help. It will help, but that is not the only step that you need to take. Okay? So, now you need to balance speed and accuracy, right? On the one hand, we said that you need to read the entire passage. On the other hand, you need to read it in such a way that you understand exactly what is written there, and you are able to accurately answer the questions. You cannot compromise on either one of this. Okay, now the ideal reading speed for bank reading comprehension is around 200 words per minute. I've written there 150 to 200 because those who are not at all confident of their reading speed should first aim for 150 words per minute. Now, most of you, as in most of us, non-native speakers of English, all of us are non-native speakers of English, I think almost all of us, right? I don't think there is anybody here who has English as their mother tongue. Yeah? Anybody? Probably there is no one who has English as their mother tongue. So, all of us non native speakers of English have a reading speed, average reading speed, okay, of about 70 to 100 words per minute. Those who are in the habit of reading may have a reading speed of up to 250 to 300 words per minute. But an average non native speaker has 70 to 100 words per minute. We need to bring it up to 150 to 200, which means all of us need to approximately double our reading speed, right? You all need to start attempting to double your reading speed. Okay? Now, it is not really such a big thing. We will demonstrate some of these approaches today, but the main thing is to understand that you do not need to read each and every little detail and memorize them. A student asked me, how do we summarize and how do we memorize? Summarize is good, memorize is unnecessary and time consuming. Okay? Instead of memorizing, in fact, you should try and summarize, which means take the passage one para at a time, quickly read through it, leaving all the irrelevant details or even relevant details like so many billion, so many years, this much person, that much person. All this, skim through it, okay? Skim through it, run through it, focusing only on the central idea of each paragraph. Are you getting me? I will demonstrate it. Okay, I will show you slowly, para by para. I'll show you how we do it. But this is the theory part. Okay, you should focus on grasping the central idea of each para. A student asked me, how do we do it without making notes? Well, if your memory is really bad, or if your focus is really bad, or if you're very, very nervous, you may want to write para one, and quickly write short forms of 3 or 4 keywords of that para. Quickly, short forms. Okay? If you think that is going to help, but you can't write long, long essays there. Okay? If you are doing this while reading each para, just 2, 3 keywords you can write in short form if you want. But otherwise, you just need to, after reading each para, ask yourself what is the key idea in this para, and express that key idea in your mind mentally in a few words, just a few words. A few words, not even a sentence. You should sum it up in a few words, just the key idea. Then, if there are questions based on specific details, okay, which of the following is true according to the passage? Such questions will usually have many sentences from the passage based on specific detail. India's whatever increased by so many billion, true or false? Okay, these kind of questions. Now, for specific detailed questions, there is no point in trying to memorize while reading the passage. You will waste all your time. Please replay this in your mind hundreds of times. Guys, I am shouting at the top of my voice because I want this to reach you loud and clear. Do not try to memorize details. Do not keep on obsessing about the details. Array, how many billion, what percentage, which this is that percentage, that is this percentage. You will go crazy, guys. Don't do that. Instead, suppose all these percentages about per capita income, say, okay, suppose all these percentages about per capita income are in the second para. All you need to do is say second para has a lot of statistics on per capita income, but the overall picture is that per capita income has increased or decreased, whatever, over the last few years. This is the overall idea. And if I need more details, I will go to the second para and check. Move on. After you do this much, move on quickly to the next paragraph. So, in short, while reading the para, what you need to do is summarize the central idea of each para and move on. By the time you finish the passage, you will have got the central idea of the entire passage in your mind. Then attempt the questions. Now, um, in a passage, okay, suppose we have approximately, let us say, 10 minutes. I'm just saying you may not get that much time. I'm just saying approximately, just taking any number, that's all. If you have 10 minutes for one reading comprehension exercise, the ideal division of time will be 2 to 3 minutes for reading the passage, 4 at the most if it is a very lengthy passage, but ideally less than that. Please mute. Karuna, can you please mute? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, no problem. No problem. Uh, so, ideally, if you Karuna, you need to mute yourself, okay? Yeah, thanks. If you have about 10 minutes for the entire reading comprehension exercise, the ideal division should be about 3 minutes for reading the passage, and the remaining 7 minutes you should spend on answering the questions. Why? The options are dark red, light red, bright red, faded red. So close. The options are very, very close. You need to spend more time on answering the questions. And dear students, again, those who asked me how to memorize the passage, please do not think you can answer questions without going back to the passage. Do not do that except in very direct questions where you're 100% sure. Okay. 100. Now, Jagriti told me about synopsis type of questions, central idea type of questions, right? Now, central idea type of questions, if you read the entire passage and if you understand what the author's argument is, you may not need to go back to the passage, because where will you go for central idea questions? The answer will be based on the entire passage. So, there is no one place to go to. These kind of questions, if you understand the argument of the author, you may not have to go back. But specific detailed questions, there is no way you are going to answer without going back to the passage. Okay? Huh? I hope you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, please put it in the chat box or unmute and tell me, no, no, it doesn't work for me. I don't agree with you. Please do feel free to tell me that and we will discuss it. Okay, you agree. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so this is the next point. Do not try to memorize, instead, try to summarize. Now, dry passages. I am looking at all your points. Okay, dry and difficult topics. Many students tell me that sometimes when they start reading a passage, they are all very happy, but after reading 2 3 sentences, their mind starts going for a walk. By the time they reach the second para, they are sleepy or their focus has gone off completely and they need to go back to the first sentence again. Does this happen to you? Has this happened to you? Yeah. Especially, yes, okay. Especially the students who asked me about dry and difficult passages. Has this happened to you? Yes, 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 yes. Everybody is saying yes, yes, yes. Absolutely, I totally understand. Somebody mentioned science passage, and I was very happy because I don't like to read science passages. Okay, but some others may love to read science passages. They may not like, say, philosophy passages. Some may not like politics passage. None of us can like everything. No? I don't think there's anybody who likes to read everything in the world. So all of us have passages which put us to sleep. Now, that is okay if you're sitting at home nicely in your chair and reading a newspaper or reading a book. You fall asleep, no problem. It's okay. But this is an exam, right? So let me ask you a counter question. Sometimes in reasoning, also, you have long, 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 long questions. Am I right? As long as a reading comprehension question. In reasoning, you get these big, 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 big questions, right? P, Q, R, S, T, whole alphabet. They are all sitting in a row. This one is sitting to that one's right. This one is all sorts of long, 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 long passages you get in reasoning. Now, do you fall asleep while reading a reasoning passage? Tell me very honestly. Nobody will fall asleep while reading a reasoning passage. Can you tell me why? Why is it so? Why do you think so? Let me see your reason. Yes, sir. Okay, one student is saying yes. Okay, if you fall asleep in all passage in reading, I mean in reasoning also, then maybe you need a little coffee before your exam, okay? Or you need more sleep, seriously. Hmm? But typically, most students will not fall asleep while doing a reasoning question. Why? Okay, you are saying it is interesting. It is interesting. Okay. Now, okay, Jagrati, is it a question you have?
No, I was just answering the question you asked, that why you feel like
Ah,
illogical
tell me.
reading.
Tell me.
Mostly because every sentence that they is in the passage gives a data about the next step we have to take. So that's
Oh,
actually makes sense to us, like moving forward with the answer, framing the answer. So it's kind of enjoyable only, I would say, not
excellent,
really.
excellent,
Hmm.
excellent. Everybody has said the same thing. It is interesting. It is interesting. Now, if you really look at it as objectively as possible, A, B, C, D sitting in a circle and A sitting to left of B, B sitting to the right of C, per se, it does not interest us, right? It is not something about our lives. As a fact, it is not very interesting. Why is it interesting? The reason Jagrati just mentioned. Every sentence, then that's a very, very, very important point. Every sentence contains data which helps us go to the next step, right? Tell me, how is reading comprehension different from this actually? In reading comprehension, whatever is written there, every single sentence also contains data, except that it is not numerical data. And while the data given in a reasoning question is directly given to you, and you know exactly how to go from there to the next step, in reading comprehension, it is indirect data, hidden data, cryptic data, coded data. Only if you decode the data in one sentence will you be able to understand the connection with the next sentence. You have to keep making those connections, keep making in logical reasoning. Yes, after one step you move on to the next step. It is very structured. Here it is unstructured. However, the process is the same. It is all data and it is all questions based on data. In LR also, you are not going to discover any treasure at the end of it, right? You are going to answer those questions only. In reading comprehension also, the purpose is to answer questions only. Here, when the data is indirect, when the data is hidden, shouldn't it be more interesting? If you look at it as a data interpretation exercise, shouldn't it be more interesting and more challenging? Think of it this way, guys. It is not reading, it is logical reasoning, isn't it? Isn't it? Otherwise they can just give you what is the color of Alice's outfit, red. That is reading comprehension. Then they ask you, is it dark red or light red? It is logical reasoning. Higher level reading comprehension is not pure. How many passages do you get on Shakespeare and Charles Dickens and all in your bank exams? Do you get very often? Rarely. Very rarely you may get. Most of the time it is economy, right? Banking, politics, international affairs, sociology. These are the topics you get. They are asking you to analyze problems. It is all data. Only thing is it is hidden data. Hence, it should actually become more interesting if your focus is on finding the answer. Are you with me? Do you agree with me? Or don't agree? If you don't agree, also it's okay. You may still say, no, 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 it is very boring. If it is boring, I feel the problem is with us. Because we are not able to, yeah, now you're agreeing with me, thank you. If we still find it boring, the problem is we are not able to look at it as data. So now it is our responsibility to look at reading comprehension passages as data. How do we do that? I will show you in a little while. Okay, I am moving on to the passage. But since you had so many questions, I am spending a little more time on this introduction. I will show you how to treat it as data. That is what I'm going to show you with a passage. Now, what other questions did I have here? Difficult words. Okay, difficult words. How to deal with difficult words? See, vocabulary is very, very important. I've written here on my slide also, vocabulary is important, right? But vocabulary, one odd word here and there, if you miss, that is not going to make a difference. Okay. Just like I told you, don't focus on little details. Don't focus on each and every word and let it bother you. From the context, you should be able to infer the meaning of most of the words. If a word is crucial to the understanding of the passage, either it will be a very common word or they will define the word in the passage. You will have to look for the definition. It will never happen that you are required to have subject knowledge. If it is a science based passage or economics based passage, they will tell you, of course, words like per capita income and GDP and all you should know. But beyond that, if there is a technical word, they will give you the definition. Okay, otherwise, that word may not be very important for understanding the passage. You can manage to understand the passage based on the overall tone of the author. That brings me to the point I have put here, third bullet point on my slide. That is that inferences should be based on the author's perspective. I would say that the author is our king, our queen, our god, our everything. Okay, because when they ask you, is it dark red or light red or bright red, if you start pulling answers from your own head, all of us will have different answers in our heads. Correct. We will all pull out our own answers from our head, and that is not going to help us. Okay. So, we should listen to the author very carefully. What clues are is the author giving in the passage? These clues we have to look out for. That is another way of making the passage interesting. Make it like a game, make it like a data interpretation exercise. Look for those clues everywhere. I will show you how to find those clues. Quickly, 2 minutes on developing the reading habit and importance of vocabulary. Very quickly. Okay, these two can go hand in hand. I am sure you have heard from everybody in the world that you should read newspaper. For the of course, for bank exams, you need general awareness. You need to be aware of what is happening in the world. For that general news, you can read any newspaper. Okay, even local newspapers are okay. For general news, you can read anything. However, for reading comprehension exercise, I would say you should be at a level so that you can understand the Hindu paper editorial. The newspaper Hindu, the editorial of that newspaper, you should be able to understand. Why am I saying the Hindu? Not because I have any prejudice towards the Hindu or any newspaper. It's just that the language is at a slightly higher level. If you are able to comprehend that language, you will be able to comprehend almost all the bank level passages. If you take the Hindu, you check it, and you find that the language is really heavy for you, then you start with any other newspaper. Okay, any newspaper you're comfortable with is okay, but along with reading the headlines and everything, I mean the news items, all that you read for your general awareness. For reading comprehension, you have to read at least one editorial every day, compulsory, at least one editorial every day. Okay, certain things are just, you just have to do it. Like in school, we all studied multiplication tables compulsorily. Reading one editorial a day, at least minimum, is compulsory for reading comprehension. Okay. Why editorial? Can you tell me why I'm saying editorial and not any news article? Can you tell me? Try and guess. No, guys, there is a very big reason for that. Okay. Why am I saying editorial and not any other article, any news item? Yeah, Jagrati.
Actually, since few days I'm reading the Hindu paper only. That's
Okay.
why I realized there are the state section which they have given, even the sports section which they have given. Uh, for me, it is quite understandable for myself. Like I can understand their words and their vocab,
Oh,
but the editorial section which they write, it's actually the words like all together I can find 30 words which
yes.
I have never heard of, and it's more of a like philosophical, I guess philosophical words they use, and they use words which are not in the general use of the people, while the other sections they use, it is quite understandable by me, in my opinion.
Very good. Excellent. So you have already started reading the Hindu editorial, so you got the exact answer. 70% of the answer you got. Okay, so that is one thing. What Jagrati said now, if you get familiar with the editorial, you will be able to handle any reading comprehension passage in bank exam. Believe me, you will easily be able to handle any reading comprehension passage. Secondly, yes, Aditya, they have good quality content. Okay, very good. Quality content means actually the editorial is this only section in the newspaper where the author can express their own perspective. In the news items, yes, all the newspapers are political, okay? Left wing paper, right wing paper, they will have their own perspective, yes. But if India won the match against Australia, they can't say India lost the match, no? They cannot change it. They cannot write their own information, or these political parties together form the government. They can't leave two parties out of it, right? So the news is absolute. Even if they bring in some politics into it, they cannot really bring out their own perspective strongly. However, editorial is the only piece in which the editor strongly expresses their own perspective. And in reading comprehension exams at a higher level, you need to get used to understanding the author's perspective and not bringing in your own masala there. Understood? When you read the news, there is no masala. But when you read somebody's opinion, you are tempted to put 2 spoons of garam masala there. That is how we get most of the questions wrong. So, reading comprehension practice, if you want to do, the best place is the editorial. Okay. And like Jagrati said, the language, vocabulary, every editorial you will, like she said, you will get 20, 30, 40 new words. What do? First, you read the editorial once, try to understand the central idea. I will go into that a little more in detail. And then what you do is you go back and look for all the new words, write it down in a notebook, look at the meanings in the dictionary, write down the meanings in a notebook, revise this notebook every now and then. Just writing down will not do. Okay, you have to keep revising. First 20 words you do today, tomorrow you do next 20 words. By then you will add another 20 words at the end. Then you read the next 20 words. This you have to put in effort, no? You have to put in effort, okay? But I will not say prepare English section alone 5 hours a day. I'm not giving you any impractical suggestions. Simple. Half an hour a day if you can spend. If you have only half an hour to spend, use it wisely. Okay, read an editorial. Now, one more exercise I'm going to give you. Okay, after that, we may do one passage. If we don't do two, it is okay, but I want to focus more on these strategies. What was I saying? Sorry. Yeah, is to practice speed reading with the editorial. Okay, if anyone has attended my reading comprehension workshop earlier, I see some familiar names. It may be all a repetition. Okay, I'm repeating the same thing because it's a basic level workshop. If you have attended my workshop earlier, please bear with me. uh, what you need to do is take a newspaper editorial, okay, do a word count. If you're reading it online, you can cut paste it onto your Word document and do a, or Google Docs or whatever, and do a word count. If you're physically reading the paper, please take some effort, maybe words per line, do an average or whatever, do a word count. Okay, then based on the word count, calculate the time required to read that passage at a reading speed of 150 to 200 words per minute. Did you understand? Yeah? Based on the word count, calculate the time. Divide the word count by, yeah, you understood, right? By 150 or 200. And find out how many minutes you need to read that passage. Then set a timer. Okay, suppose you have 500 words in an editorial, you should finish reading it in 2.5 to 3 minutes, right? That itself is a little slow, but okay for now. Set the timer, then start reading the article. You have to finish reading the article by the time the timer goes off. Okay, so the problem is you may not be able to focus, you may start panicking, you may not understand anything, you may only finish one para. That is not allowed. You have to finish reading the article by the time the timer goes off, which means you have to keep looking at the timer while reading. Why am I telling you this? You have to learn to handle pressure. In the exams, many of you told me you start panicking. You have to handle pressure, guys. And time pressure. Okay, time management you have to learn. So keep your eyes on the timer. By the time the timer goes off, you have to finish reading the entire article. It may so happen that you will not understand anything initially. No problem. It is all practice. Okay? Yes, budget our time. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just putting it very simply. Okay? Absolutely. Budget your time. So, see, initially, if you read it, you may not understand anything, but don't give up, guys. You remember when you learned the bicycle first or swimming first? Yeah? How many times you must have fallen from the bicycle? I I don't even want to think of how I learned the bicycle. All broken, not broken, but scratched skin and broken head and what all. Right? Swimming also. Initially, we do with the float. Then sometime suddenly the teacher will take out the float and you'll go boom down. Then the teacher will rescue you. But after that, you learn to swim. You learn to cycle. It's the same thing here. Okay, you should not go and fall down and break your head in the exam. That is why I'm telling you, set the timer, stick to the timer, finish reading the article before the timer goes off. Then cover the article. Cover the article, take a deep breath, think, what did I read? What did the author say in this article? Try to write down the essence of the article in one sentence. Essence does not mean topic. Essence means the primary argument of the author. Try to write it down in exactly one sentence. After that, you go back to the passage, you read it slowly and try to see if you got the essence right or did you miss out the most important points. Okay? How is this exercise? Did you like it? Very useful. Very useful, guys. Really. Especially if any of you are from local medium schools, if you are scared of reading, etc. I have worked with many kids from vernacular local medium schools in many parts of the country who struggled with reading comprehension. This works. This really works. Yeah, I have seen it work. But you should not give up. You shouldn't start crying saying, Array, I did not understand anything. Timer went off. I can't understand. It's okay. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Within a week, if you don't understand, you find me and come and tishum with me. Within a week, all of you will understand at least majority of the passage if you do it with confidence. But one thing is, when I tell you essence, okay, suppose the article is about education in India. I don't want you to write this article is about education in India. First standard student also will write that. That is not the essence. Okay, it is about education in India. But if 10 authors write about education in India, all of them will have a different perspective. That is the editorial, right? If 10 people write about India Australia match, all of them will write the same thing, that India won by 7 runs. But if 10 editors write about education, each one will have a different opinion. That is what I mean by the author's perspective or the essence of the passage. So, for example, you may write something like, while the author says that India has undertaken many reforms in the field of education, accessibility for the marginalized sector is still the major challenge. This is the author's perspective. This is what you should write. And why am I saying you should write in exactly one sentence? Because otherwise you will write random points. You will remember this and that, and you will write, this state has so much percent illiteracy. This state has 100% literacy. All this you will write. That is not, those are little details which you may need to answer the question, but the central idea is what you need to understand in order to accurately answer any question. Even if it is a specific detailed question, you have to know what the author is talking about. That is why I'm saying write it in one sentence. Okay? Yeah. This is for reading, reading speed, comprehension, and vocabulary building at the same time. Vocabulary building, you must have heard of word power made easy, right? I'm just putting it in the chat box only because many students keep asking me about this. Not compulsory at all. Our material, our study material itself gives you a lot of vocabulary questions. But if you want some interesting resource to learn vocabulary, I'm putting one of them here. Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis. Okay, nobody is giving me any money for marketing this book. Okay, author is dead and gone many decades ago. It's just a very useful book because it is very interesting. It presents vocabulary in an interesting manner, not very easy to read. Okay, you do one thing, you first check out the free PDF version. There is a free PDF version of this book online. You check it out. If you really find it useful, then you can check it on Amazon. Reason I'm saying this is it only costs around 150 rupees or so. It's not very expensive. If you want, just check out the free PDF version. Or you can just manage with the PDF version. It's just that there are some more exercises and all in the printed version. Okay. Have I answered most of your questions? Okay, closed test, somebody asked me. Closed test, we should have another workshop for that alone. Closed test is based on vocabulary. So for that, you will need to work on your vocabulary. But again, you should not start filling in words as soon as you reach the first blank. Just like in reading comprehension, you shouldn't look at the question and pick the answer. Similarly, in closed test, as soon as you reach first blank, you shouldn't find the word and put it there. You should read the passage quickly, the whole passage quickly, then start again. Okay, then you try blank by blank by blank, you fit in, and then read it again together. It is same as reading, same skill as reading comprehension, but the focus is on vocabulary. Okay, we will have another workshop for closed test if you all want. Okay, have I covered all your questions? I think so. Shall we quickly look at a passage? One passage. We have time till 8 o'clock. Let's quickly look at one passage. Are you okay, guys? Yeah. Any pressing question that you have to ask me now? 1 minute for questions. If you have any question bothering you so much that you have to ask me now. Any question? No? Let's quickly look at the passage. I promise to show you certain strategies. So please focus. Okay. Let us look at it as a data interpretation or DILR, logical reasoning exercise, like I told you. Okay. In the recently released film, Article 15, see, I don't even know about this film, but that doesn't matter. They have told us what the film is all about. Okay. The Indian police is depicted as dysfunctional. If you don't know this word, just look at function and dis. Dis would be the opposite or negative form of function. So dysfunctional means not able to function properly. See, lot of it you can figure out just by just using common sense, right? Okay. Prejudiced, do you all know the meaning of prejudiced? Prejudiced. That word you need to know in order to understand. Can someone tell me meaning of prejudiced? Prejudiced. Pride and Prejudice, you must have heard. No? Okay, let us see. What if you don't know the meaning of prejudice? Will you be able to figure it out? Let us see, okay? Dysfunctional, prejudiced, and corrupt. This is a very common word, guys, so you should know these words. But let us see. It was a depiction, okay? Depiction means representation that won the film critical acclaim, but also a depiction grounded in the truth according to a new study. Now, it is not about the police, as you can see. Dislike based on race, sex, and opinion. Pre-opinion, okay, race, sex, and religion. Very good, guys. You have given me the answer. Prejudiced is a, yes, both of you are right. Pre-opinion as in a preconceived notion, or yes, likes and dislikes based on your own factors. It can be race, sex, religion, anything. Okay, your likes and dislikes defined by certain factors. That is called prejudice. Okay, so now we are going back to the passage. What it is saying is that the movie was a true representation of the truth about Indian police, right? The study conducted by blah blah blah. See, this much part you can skip while reading. By the non-governmental organization. Some NGO conducted the study. That is it. Okay. Suggests that India's police force is severely hindered. Hindered means hampered, prevented from doing its work. See, dysfunctional. It is not able to function properly because it is severely hindered. Hindered is hampered or prevented from doing something. Okay, by inadequate staff, infrastructure, and budget, but also riddled with prejudices. Riddled with means troubled by. That you can figure out from the passage even if you don't know the meaning. Correct? Riddled with means troubled by. Okay. So, what do we have here again? Indian police was portrayed in a negative manner in the movie, but the author is saying that that portrayal is correct because the major problems. Can you please mute, guys? Can you please mute? Okay, thank you. If you want to talk to me, you can unmute. Okay. So, Indian police has several problems. It is dysfunctional. Main problems are inadequate staff, infrastructure, and inadequate budget. But also, prejudice is a major problem. Fine. Quickly, you have to understand and move on. Details like the name of the NGO, etc., you should not bother about. Okay. The basic input for any police force. Can you please mute my dear friend who is unmuted? Okay. So the basic in
वही तो बहुत ज्यादा चलती है
Megha, student Megha, can you please mute, dear? Can you please go on mute? Thank you. If you want to talk to me, you can unmute. Okay. The basic input for any police force is its people and its resources. People and resources are important. Here, what did we say? Quickly, you make the connection. See, earlier you said no, in logical reasoning, one step leads to the other. Here, the problem is you are not able to see that connection. See here the connection clearly. Are you seeing it? Yeah? Can you see the connection now? If you miss this connection, then it becomes boring. See, this is how you read properly like a logical. It's not any different from logical reasoning. But for that, your mind has to be alert, guys. What happens is, boring passage. Oh God, this is on police force. I don't want. If you go with that mindset, then it becomes boring. You can't. You're writing an exam. Whatever the topic is, it is a challenge. However boring it is up to you to make it interesting. Okay. Be alert, find connections. In LR, it is given to you directly. Here, it is indirect. So, that is a test of your intelligence and reasoning skills. All of you are intelligent enough to make these connections, right? I'm sure. Okay. So, people and resources are the basic input, and we can already see that Indian police has problems in all these areas. On both these fronts, Indian police forces are struggling. That's what they said in the first para also. India has one of the weakest police forces in the world. Since they said that people and resources are the important elements of police force, when they say weakest police force, we know that it lacks people and it lacks resources, and we also know it has prejudice problems. Within India, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Bihar have most inadequate police forces according to something something. You don't need to know what it is. Something something. These three states are the weakest police force. Quickly, this something something and all is to show you how to quickly read through the passage without memorizing, without unnecessarily wasting time. Okay. The police adequacy index. Okay. So that is what they talked about here. Adequacy index. Yeah, captures police strength. So this adequacy index is for police strength in terms of personnel, infrastructure, budget. See, same things only they are repeating. It is nothing new, right? Staff, infrastructure, budget, same things they are saying. For the years, these years, the latest years where data is available and reveals how Indian police forces are hamstrung on all these measures. Indian police lacks all these. For instance, Uttar Pradesh's low score is driven by police vacancies. UP problem is police vacancies. Chhattisgarh problem is weak infrastructure. See, don't try to sit and memorize this. Just know that the last para has details about which state has what problem. That is it. When you have a question, you come back and check. Otherwise, if you have excellent memory, good for you. No problem if your memory is not so excellent also. You just need to know where it is and you need to go and check. Okay. I've taken a small passage just to show you how to do this. But even in a big passage, if it is a very big passage, you can just write quickly para 1, para 2. Like for example, this para, last para, let us say 3. You can just put there 3 and say state data in short form. That is it. Cool, right? Okay. Now, the India's best police forces are in Delhi, Kerala, and Maharashtra. The study suggests, though this is only a relative judgment. Relative judgment means compared to the other states, these states are better, but it is not that police police force is very good in these states either. Finished. Passages over. Okay. So what is the problem here? Police force is dysfunctional. Major problems are inadequate staff, infrastructure, and budget, but also prejudices. And some states are worse than the other. Major central ideas are over. This passage should take you a minute to read. Important points. Okay. Please do the editorial practice. You should be able to manage. Okay. Let's quickly look at the questions here. It is obvious that while there is no shortage of people, what is holding the governments of UP, Chhattisgarh, and Bihar from completing the staffing of the police force? See, they have not given you directly. In fact, UP has staffing problem. Chhattisgarh, they are saying weak infrastructure, right? Bihar, they haven't said what the problem is at all. Correct? They have just said these have the most inadequate police forces. From what you read, this is why I'm saying if you try to pick the answer from any particular para, you will fall flat on your face, my dear students. You will not understand anything. Okay, you need to know the entire passage. I've taken an indirect question here, not a very straightforward question. Okay, please look at all the options very carefully. Question is, what is holding the governments of these from completing the staffing of the police force? What could it be? Young women and men are afraid to seek recruitment. Some young people are unable to pay the huge bribe. Unless the right strings are pulled, few people can enter the force. Budget allocation is inadequate or unequal to the need challenge. Politicians demand big money from recruits. What is the problem here? Can you tell me? Directly based on the passage, what is the problem here? Yes. Budget allocation is the factor that is mentioned in the context of staff recruitment, right? The other factors are generally problems hampering or facing the police force, general problems. Specific problem is budget allocation. So yes, all of you got the answer. It is question 4. Option 4 is the answer to this question. There you go. Easy, very easy. Actually, passages are all at this level, guys. It is just that, when you read under the time pressure, you start panicking, you feel it's very, very tough. Passages are, at least in the prelims level, this is the level of passages that you get. For mains, we will have more workshops once you clear the prelims, okay? We will have tougher passages. Okay. The Indian police forces are hamstrung on all these measures. Where is that? Indian police here. The police adequacy index captures police strength in terms of personal infrastructure and budget allocations and reveals how Indian police forces are hamstrung. Hamstrung means hampered, hindered, okay? Impeded means it is facing obstacles on all these areas. Now the question is, what does it mean? Please look at all the options. Easy, very easy. Indian police force are hamstrung on all these measures. Please tell me the answer. There you go. All of you have got the answer. Everybody has got the answer. Shortage of personnel, infrastructure, and budget damage the effectiveness. That is what they talked about. The police force being dysfunctional. Somebody said 3. 3, police excesses. I think you typed 3 by mistake. Did you mean 2? Yeah. If you typed 3, student who typed 3, if it is by mistake, then let me know. Otherwise, police excesses, irregularities, inaction, lethargy. Lethargy is laziness. Where are they talking about laziness and all? That's not what they're talking about. They are saying that the problems are personal infrastructure and budget allocation. So there is no place for things like lethargy here. Okay? Yeah. So 3 is not the answer. 2 is the answer. All of you got it. So this is how you read a passage basically. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we have time to take up another passage and read it entirely. But the idea was to demonstrate some reading and quickly demonstrate answering questions. Yeah. Um have you got some idea? Have you got some ideas rather from this session? Hmm? Any more doubts? Any more? Now we have a lot of time. I don't think we have enough time to take up a full passage and do the questions. So one thing I forgot to show you guys. One thing, let me show you that. Okay. I'm not doing an entire passage now. However, in the passage that I had here, it was actually a slightly heavier and longer passage. That's why I said we will not be able to do this now. Okay. However, if you look at which of the following is most, I just wanted to show you vocabulary questions. Which of the following is most similar in meaning to the word given in bold as used in the passage? Accountable. Okay. Now, if you have doubts about the meaning of the word, if there are options which are very, very close, then you will have to go and look for the meaning in the passage. You will have to go and look for the context in the passage. But here, all of you are already giving me the answer. Accountable means responsible or answerable. That is the only meaning. So you got the answer. However, if there were more closer options here, okay, you would have to go back to the passage, find that word, and then find the meaning. Okay, it was very useful session. Okay, thank you so much for your message. So I just wanted to show you this. Another vocabulary question here is stellar. Can you tell me what this word means? Stellar. The words given here, you see, you have some confusing words. Okay, excellent, superior, stupefying, tricky, and subjective. Now, excellent and superior, you may find it confusing. Stellar. What is the meaning of stellar performance? Stellar performance means excellent performance. The word stellar means, anybody knows without using Google? Anybody knows the meaning of the root stella or Estella? Don't look up Google, there is no point. Does anybody know? Fantastic. Yeah, stellar means fantastic, absolutely. But stella, the root stella, does anybody know? Stel or stella or estella or estel, all these roots have one meaning. Oh my God, Sai Kashyap, yay, chocolate for you, virtual chocolate for you. Wonderful. Star. Stella means star. Okay, so stellar performance is star performance or excellent performance, not necessarily superior. Yeah, you can say it is outstanding. Now, there can be 10 people who show stellar performance in a company. They don't need to be superior necessarily. Okay, so superior has a slightly different meaning of not just being better than the others, but superior has a connotation to it, right? Being above the others. Being outstanding doesn't necessarily mean being above the others. The correct word here is excellent. Okay, so you can see that the options are very close. Normally, I don't know how it is used in this passage. I'm not going back to search for the word now, but usually when we say stellar, we talk of stellar achievements, stellar performance, etc., which means excellent performance, excellent, spectacular. You said fantastic, absolutely fantastic achievements. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you these vocabulary questions also. I think we can wind up this discussion here. Any more questions? I'm happy to take. Questions, comments, anything at all. Yeah. Hope you found this useful. Please get over the fear of reading comprehension. Start reading Hindu editorial every day. If you do not if you find the Hindu editorial tough, you can read other newspaper editorials and slowly move on to the Hindu. But read editorials, okay? Write down new vocabulary words. Keep practicing. Don't think this is a section you need to leave. This is one section where the answers are given to you, so it's actually a very safe question. One more tip I want to tell you is, guys, when you have, let us say, 8 to 10 questions based on a passage, you do not need to answer each and every question. It is a very important skill to identify the easy questions and just focus on that. If one particular question is complicated, don't say, Array, I read this passage, so I have to attempt all the questions based on the passage. Nothing like that. Okay, you will end up getting negative marks unnecessarily. Okay, so don't get into all that. If there are 8 questions based on a passage and you answer 4 questions with confidence, that is also more than enough. Okay, don't waste too much time on the other questions. Identify difficult questions and leave them right away. That's a smart thing to do. Is there any website where it's easy to understand root words? I don't know of any external website. Our own study material gives you roots, handouts, classroom handouts also at time. But other than that, your word power made easy. Take a look at the PDF, the book that I mentioned today. Okay, Swati? Take a look there. They follow the root word approach only. It's a very, very interesting book. Look at the PDF version. If you like it, then you can buy. It's 150 rupees, not a huge amount. That is the only reliable source I know of. If you go online, you may find other sources. But the good thing with WordPower Made Easy is it doesn't make you learn anything by heart. It makes it very interesting. Okay? Yeah? Okay. Anything else, guys? Any other question for me? Where can we find the PDF? Where can you find it? If you go online and do a Google search, you will find it. My students only told me, Sai Kashyap, okay? I am not very good with online versions of books. I have the physical copy. If you just go online and put in Google Word Power Made Easy PDF, you should find it. Yeah? You guys are better than me at technology, you will find it. Session was very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? I am just seeing for Sai Kashyap if we do. Voice is not coming. Others also cannot hear me. One student is saying voice is not coming. I think it must be the problem with that person's connection. I've helped a lot. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you to say that. I'm very happy. That is the whole idea, to give you more confidence. Okay. Low voice. It could be a problem with your system because nobody else seems to have this problem. Okay. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. Word Power Made Easy. Yeah, you will get it here. Sai Kashyap. You will get it if you just look for PDF. You will find it for free. Okay. You got an idea to deal with the passage. Okay. Thank you so much. That is what I wanted. Yeah. Mm, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm glad. I'm happy. Okay. Okay, very happy to know. Thank you guys, and thank you for your participation. You were amazing today, really, really, really. Thank you. Okay, then may I wind up? Shall I end the session? Waiting for my next session. Okay, you can put it in your feedback that you want more verbal ability sessions from us. Okay, reading comprehension, whatever you want. No, you can put it in the feedback. You will be asked to give feedback. You can say that you want more sessions from me, from us, whatever you want, you can put. Okay. We will take it very seriously, guys. We take your feedback very, very seriously. Hmm? Okay. Thank you. It was really a pleasure interacting with all of you. All the best, guys. Don't be scared of anything in English. Yeah, it's very, very manageable. Believe me. All of us started off not knowing any English, and we have all got somewhere. No, don't worry. It's very manageable. Get over that fear and work systematically. All the best. Winding up. Okay. Thank you. Take care. Good night. Thank you.